go talk to a person that actually did it, right? And that's what I've been doing. Like, and that's what gave me more confidence is talking to people that are doing this every single day and seeing and understanding, is that person really that much better than me? And once you figure that out, like once you hit once that connects, that's where everything opens up for almost everything.
Welcome to the Path to Passive podcast, where we talk about building wealth and empowering lifestyle through commercial real estate investing for tech professionals. I always wish that other tech professionals reaching financial freedom had documented their journey along the way, so I'm doing it for the rest of us. Join us as we explore stories, many failures, and lessons learned along the way. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. Merrick, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. As I got to learn a little bit more about you, I also saw that, you're absolutely a tech professional as well, being in business, in digital marketing, professional background. And so this has been Path to Passive Real Estate for tech professionals. You know how to also talk to, myself and colleagues and think about this from a real estate perspective as well. So pleasure, to have you here, and thank you for being the guest. Let's just get right out there, and I'd love to hear,
Awesome.
a little bit from you. Like, how did you get into real estate? Because this story is different for everyone. So let's start
Yeah.
with that.
Awesome. So yeah, very much a tech professional. If you Google the coolest guy on the internet, which I'm sure you have,
Mhm.
you get me, try it if you don't believe me. And so, I love telling the story because it's very just, I don't know, when I think back to it, it kind of just reminds me like you can really do anything you put your mind to. And whatever it is that's out there that you really want to do and you're holding yourself back for whatever reason, stop holding yourself back. The time that we have here on earth is very limited and we need to just go forward, especially if it's something that you want to do. And so for years, I've been watching HGTV with my uncle and aunt, right? For
Yeah.
years, we watch this show, Love It or List It. We watch House Hunters. We watch all these different shows that show you properties and it shows you different amenities. And in some of them, they show you about like this value add aspect to it.
Mhm.
And in my head, as I'm watching this, I've always asked myself, even though it's non-related, how do people own buildings? Right. And
Mhm.
I always used to think that it was one person that just has all this money,
Right.
especially me. I live in New York. So just imagine all these buildings. And here I am walking the streets, just saying to myself, wow, this person owns all these, or this person owns that. Right. And you
Yep.
you don't really realize how much you don't know until you realize what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so when I ran into this ad that talked about multifamily real estate and it talked about how people syndicate, a pool of investors to basically buy these buildings or
Mhm.
buy different properties, complexes, I realized, wait a second, I can do that.
Mhm.
I'm not that far off of being able to invest, a little bit of money to also be part of the group that owns one of these. And so as I was very curious about it, I decided, okay, let me invest in myself. And so I decided to take a couple more classes and workshops. And it really opened my eyes to realizing that I not only can do it myself as
Mhm.
far as, being helped to get a pool of investors to buy these buildings and buy the right investments, but, I can offer it to many more, and buy many more. And now it's inspired me to kind of do exactly that. And not just multifamily, buildings or complexes. There's just so many other things on the table that I've learned. Like you can buy self-storage units, you can buy marinas,
Mhm.
like you can buy medical offices. Like
Yep.
there's a lot of things that are on the table that we don't realize. And I want to be in a position where I can kind of show this to other investors so then they can be like me, where I came from, where I didn't think, that I could even do it. But now be in a position to where you can own it. So that's kind of my journey.
Yeah, I love that because that question seems like one that you could ask anyone that's really sort of boilerplate, so to speak. But the answers that I get back are so unique and so different because that's really that epiphany of oh, I can do this, type of thing. And
Yep.
for many people, especially having gone to like apartment investing or multifamily masterminds and groups and workshops like those that you were talking about, usually the pattern and epiphany stage is that, well, I went through so many single family homes at some point, I had to go bigger. But
Yep.
you being in, digital marketing, you're a product of your environment. You got by your own ad.
Yeah, exactly. I got by my own ad, and now I get to make the ads.
Exactly, exactly. So no single family experience before, no other real estate, just saw that and it just spoke to you.
It just spoke to me because it's, again, I've seen buildings here that I love. Like there's one down in the Seaport that is just a beautiful building. It's on 120 in William Street,
Mhm,
and it's like a black building. And then I remember looking at it and just saying, wow, like the architect did such a great job by having these bronze amenities.
mhm,
Like they have like these different accents where the handlebars on the cabinets were bronze.
yeah,
The sink was bronze. And I was just like, man, I would love to be in a position where I can add such value to a property and just kind of create art out of it.
sure.
And I thought about it when I was going through my training with multifamily, and I saw that there's that aspect of adding value to, of course, give the investors, return back on their investment. Because if you buy something, especially you want to buy low, and as they say, buy low, sell high,
Mhm,
I now am in a position to force that appreciation. I now can kind of be at the forefront of, okay, we bought this building, but now I get to make that decision to say, I too want to add my bronze little amenities. I too want to be able to add different, like maybe laundry units
mhm,
into each unit of the building because they don't have that already. And then give our tenants a place that they can be proud of. Because in many cases, especially, me, again, I live in New York. I can't tell you how many people that live in buildings that hate their building that they're living in. They have so many problems. The management companies are not doing what they need to do. But then I learned, especially with the multifamily classes, that we hire the property management companies and we can hold them accountable
mhm,
for not doing right by our tenants. And then that power also made me feel even better because I knew that now I'll be in a position to, like I said before, give these tenants, a place that they can be proud of, and then grow the investment. Because if they are proud of where they're living, more than likely they're going to be okay when I raise the rent maybe $50 to 100, which then is going to give more to that net operating
mhm.
income, and then boost that investor value. And then of course everyone wins because the tenant wins by having a better place, our investors win when we make them more money, and then I win because everyone smiles and thinks that I'm this amazing guy, which I am. So it works out.
The coolest guy on the internet. Now, I love
Coolest.
about that too is, that just seeing everything, everything around us, like you're talking about, the apartments being in the buildings, that black building you were talking about too, but, just the self-storage, the marinas, the office strips, the anything else around us is really following the same model. And as we learn about and we look at what it means to syndicate, get a bunch of people together and, Zig Ziglar, if we make enough, money for other people, we too can get, give enough, help others people get enough of what they want. We get what we want too. And it's
Yep.
really that same kind of added value, not only as it is in industry, multifamily value add, but for anything as a principle. So just that aha of being able to do that. I love how that was direct for you. And again, I love how that was an ad and you're a digital marketing professional. It's kind of
Yeah.
fun. So um, I'm really curious. You were talking about that. You got uh this ad. This is what your origin story was. One of the things that it kind of was for me and others I've talked to as well. It's not everyone gets excited about investing and multifamily. What is this multifamily thing, Merrick? Like
Yeah.
your family and whoever would say. And I saw you're a big family man. I saw some really cool snowboarding stuff you did with your kids and the onesies. Those look like fun if you're
Yep.
into one too. Um, talk to me about what some of the challenges might be, or just experience. How was that for did you have others around you that were also already part of investing? Did you have to educate those around you in the family? Did you have to set out and do your own thing? I'm kind of curious your backstory there.
Yeah, I love that. I love that question. So when I first started, of course, when you start almost anything and you don't know, like it's brand new to you, it's really hard to explain it because you kind of need to build up your reps,
Yeah.
so to speak, especially like when it comes to like this knowledge. And when I talked to people about it, I wasn't really confident because how could you be confident with something you don't know?
Hmm.
And the beauty of it is, whenever I, especially on this journey now, it's been a couple months, I've been able to plug myself into these different operators that are actually doing it every single day. And so I would say that I probably talk to one or two, maybe even three operators a week,
Nice.
where we're talking about deals, we're talking about marketing, we're talking about, okay, how do you structure things? And so what are the problems that you're having with your properties right now? And I learned a lot from other people. And so as I'm talking about it and then I'm seeing some deals go full cycle, I realize right away, like the knowledge and the confidence that is in me now is just way more compared to where I was before. Like if you look at other podcasts I've done, especially like months ago, you'll see the growth compared to right now, even the setup. Like I feel like the setup is beautiful too.
Yeah.
But going back to real estate, I would say when I first started, I told my uncle, hey, this is something that I want to do. He looked at me and said, you're crazy. Yeah, right. Right.
Sure.
My aunt, on the other hand, who is just so kind and so loving,
Yeah.
she's like, you know what, Merrick, I think you could do it. Just keep going. You figure it out.
Mhm.
And so very similar to what you said with Zig Ziglar. One quote that will forever remain with me is, I make up in numbers what I lack in skill.
Nice.
And to me, what that means is basically I'm going to go out and I'm going to keep getting the reps in. I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep talking to all the people. I'm going to keep underwriting deals. I'm going to keep looking at deals and understanding and identifying what went right, what went wrong. And then once I get to a point where I really get it,
Hmm.
then it just makes sense. And I feel like I finally got there. Like I finally got to that breaking point where it's like, okay, I see the patterns.
Yep.
Like I kind of get it now. And so now, after doing a couple podcasts, and of course, I'm a family man. I go see my uncle all the time. He's been asking me like, hey, let me know when there's a good deal, right? Because I've been speaking the language. I've been talking on podcasts. I've been talking to a lot of operators, and I've been way more confident about it. And now I can explain it
That's right.
a whole lot better. And so that's kind of like the journey for me, is really just actually putting in the work to not just know for my own benefit of like how these deals work, but really know for my investors benefit, because those are the people that are going to be impacted the most, including myself. So I have to know what's best for them, what's best for the deal, so then I can make money for them, rather than like some people who don't know what they're doing, you lose the money.
Right.
So
Absolutely. So you had a pretty good mixed bag. Obviously, your aunt, you could do it, Merrick, right?
yeah.
I think about those are always there to support you. Um, I don't know. Well, I don't know your family, but I'm thinking about the archetypes and characters of
Yeah.
like, the semi skeptic who you've turned over time through trending well, like your uncle. And I love that you continue to give him more and more updates. I'm sort of curious though, and not to dig into this too much. I know this is probably a little bit personal, but I am curious because I've talked to colleagues that are very similar. Married, kids, family. In most cases, family men. And in some cases, colleagues, friends of mine that are also women, but want to invest, etc. Was it sort of the same story that you had to go through to get buy-in for like your spouse? Did that go how did you get to build the mind share together so that you could say this is the direction we're going for investing?
So the beauty is I'm actually not married. So it doesn't look like that because I'm co-parenting,
Got you.
which is awesome, right? And so we're actually going to like Universal Studios. Our son's birthday is today. So after
Nice.
this, I'm going to say hi to him, and then we're gonna go hang out. But that's a great question, because for me personally, I didn't have to do that. Like I just was able to say this is something that I want to do, and then I'm able to go forward. And knowing that this is something I've always wanted to do. Like real estate has always been in the back of my mind, and I've always put it out there. Like, and before like we decided to break and do our own things, like this is something she knew I wanted to do. And before we even had like our child, like we were trying to figure out like which ways we wanted to go, and she gave me like her plan, which was I want to go to law school, I want to become a lawyer, and then go forward.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really have too much of a plan. I'm like, I'm in digital marketing, but I kind of want to do more things. I want to build, right?
Yeah.
Know what I was building, but I want to build. So we saw it through. So we had our kid, and she went to law school after that. Like she actually took 1 year off to be a mom,
Hmm.
and here we are trying to figure it out. And then after that, she went to law school, and I try to do my best to support her. Of course, it's not easy, but I try my best. And then she ended up passing the bar, becoming a lawyer, and I was so happy for her because like she's doing so well. Now she's like, top 40, under 40,
Awesome.
top black lawyers here in New York, which is completely awesome. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
And now I'm finally at the point now where it's like, okay, you were able to do your job, your dreams, your goals. Now it's my turn,
Yeah.
right? And now she supports me fully as well. Now it's like, now it's on the other side where it's like, all right, if you can do good in your life, obviously it's going to benefit me and our child. Now I want you to go forward to just, do as much as you can. And we're, reaping the benefits now. Now it's just like, it's
Hmm.
awesome. We're having a quite an amazing time. Like there's no beef, there's no animosity. Like we both are both team players when it comes to our son. And again, we're going to Universal Studios on Saturday together as a
That's
family. So
awesome. And
yeah,
setting a great example for the kid too, man. So I thank you for talking about that. I know it's something that I continue to have conversations over and over with friends and colleagues. So it's always however you work through that unique situation and the perspective. So once again, I appreciate that, man. Um,
yeah. I'm open book on this side. Ask me anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I'm not gonna hide anything. It is what it is.
Awesome, dude. So, one of the other things, again, I think about it's such it's rare because again, you're it's like having the conversation. I always think about whenever I'm talking to a guest, I'm talking to someone. It's like, okay, what nuggets can I pull out? I pretend like there's someone else, a tech professional at the table. It's like, okay, I'm getting some great nuggets, but let's simplify this. Let's turn it into speak for the professional. So, it's this is kind of a treat in a lot of ways. So,
Yeah.
talk to me. What are from your background? What are some of the things that you're taking from your professional life that you're bringing into this space? Whether that's
Awesome.
skills, disciplines, frameworks, mental models, stuff like that.
Oh, that's great. So like I think I have a leg up because I'm already in digital marketing, and for the most part real estate is all marketing. Like
Mhm.
if you look at it, you want to have a building that is has a nice appearance that brings people in. You want to keep them in. You want them to kind of go down the funnel, as we would
Yes.
call it in marketing, right?
Yep.
And so it's very much the same. Like, you want to be able to have like some sort of advertisement that brings people to your building to actually, convert and
Mhm.
then become renters. It's the same thing. It's very similar to I want them to come to my website. I want them to stay there, sign up, and
Yep.
convert. So I think the skills that I've learned in digital marketing has transferred very quickly over to it. And I think that now, like, I'm able to build campaigns. Now, as I'm talking to different operators and I'm helping multiple operators now with their websites, I'm helping them with their SEO, I'm helping them figure out, okay, what's the process to help investors now see this opportunity and, understand it and come in. Because I'm really big on like education. Like, I don't want anyone to invest with me without actually knowing what they're doing.
Mhm.
And so like I'm starting to build out like these webinars, which I'm doing, where we educate investors so they can be very much educated when they make their investment. So if they
Yep.
decide to put in any money into a deal, they know exactly what IRR means. They know what cash on cash is. They know what to expect. Sometimes they don't really care. Just like just make me money and that's it. And
Right.
that's okay. But I'm still going to try to educate as much as possible. But I would say that to answer your question, my skills transfer very well in this space because I'm already doing those things every single day.
Yeah, for sure. The funnel is universal, right? Things like awareness, interest, decision,
Yep.
action, or any other number of frameworks before, after bridges, the situation, absolutely. What are so many of the tech professionals that are my listeners, my colleagues? I mean, we're talking about engineers,
Yeah.
architects, program managers, all of them. So tech professional is very broad, obviously, from, digital marketing tech professional to, a software development manager, and software, is totally,
Yeah.
totally different, right? An animal in a lot of ways. So, um, how do you, typically go about, I'm really curious personally here too. How do you go about explaining, do any analogies or talking through like real estate concepts with maybe other colleagues or that you've had that might be other tech professionals too?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I haven't really come across talking to too many of me's, I like to call them, where
Yeah.
like, tech, because most of the people that I talk to are like you and even TJ that are in it, and they have their own audiences.
Yes.
I would say if I was to talk to someone like me, I would just make it very simple, right? I would just say basically to them, like, hey, this is exactly what we're looking to do. We're looking to get a pool of investors, we're looking to raise value. Now, the way that that can work for you is I would kind of dig in to like the lifestyle that we have to live, where, for the most part, we're under pressure, where we have to, especially as a software engineer, because I, do software as well, I do
Hmm.
websites, I do apps. Sometimes you might have a deadline coming up and then you're stressed up. You like I remember talking to someone that worked at Facebook, and they
Hmm.
told me that they're given about, I think it was 52 mental health sessions a year or something like that. And they
Okay.
said they took all of them, right? And to me, that just tells me you're stressed out because you have to work so often. Now, what if I could tell you that with what we're doing here is we're now building passive income.
Hmm.
We're building a situation or a vehicle where you can get extra money on the side just by acquiring more different buildings or complexes, marinas, whatever it is, through
Hmm.
your syndication. Now you're able to have something on the side that's bringing you that passive income.
Hmm.
So just in case if things don't work out, let's say with Facebook or wherever you work, you actually can be sustained with this income that's coming in, and you can even broaden it out. And so, especially when you look at certain things like your 401k and stuff like that, like, yes, you can keep building that,
Hmm.
but it's not going to grow as fast as this. So I would recommend for all those that's listening, especially if you're like a tech engineer or you're looking at your 401k and not sure, hey, this is not really going up the way I need to. Like if you talk to someone like Steven, who's already in it, that's in syndication, that can tell you and walk you through and even show you
Yeah.
what the results would look like depending on how much you're willing to invest. Especially when you look at like some of these turnarounds, which are sometimes 3 to like 5 years,
Hmm.
you get money back and you're probably still in the deal where you're getting the passive income. I just think it speaks for itself, right? And
Yeah.
and to me, I think when it comes to being stressed out as much as they are, you can't afford to not invest in this because
Yeah.
it's crazy to me how many people are stressed out, especially in those fields. And I can only imagine, and you work at Amazon, so you already know what type of like deadlines and what type of, characters that you might be working for when you're there. So
Yeah, yeah. 10 years later, I'm very aware. uh, but I love that, it's true, right? When you just go through the model and you talk through things, talk about what's important, the building income on the side is super important, especially many of the tech companies are very heavy into stock vesting, right?
yep,
Twice a year, or depending on which company, could be quarterly now for a lot. But these are stocks that we make often comparisons of stock market, quote unquote, casino versus
yep.
something with tangible assets or in funds, and having that cash flow come in as well is a game changer. So all starts with little by little, and building it up. So awesome. I appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit more here now. We One of the things that you know and I love the picture in the back, you've referenced it a couple times, is New York a market for you that you guys are looking investing in, doing deals, or where do you like to invest in?
Absolutely not New York, especially right now. But I would say we're really more focused on states that are in the South. So I'm looking at Tennessee because of Stewart,
Okay.
but I was mostly looking at Texas and Georgia because I get a lot of hits for those areas. As a matter of fact, I had a real estate agent reach out to me yesterday from where was he? I think he was from Berkshire, where he was just like, "Hey, I have these two properties. One of the owners is really trying to offload it. Let me know what you think." And so in my inbox now, I have like the T12s, I have all the financial information,
Hmm.
and it's off the market right now. And he's like, "Hey, I don't want you to promote this because it's off the market. I might get in trouble if you
Yeah.
do." So I'm like, "All right, fine, I won't, but let me run it through the underwriting." So I'm going to do some underwriting and then have my team also do it as well. and figure out if this is a good deal. But I would say, to answer the question, it's like Texas, like southern states,
Okay.
and predominantly red, like landlord states where, just in case if anything goes wrong, that I don't have to worry about having to lose investor money because we have tenants that don't want to pay the rent.
Right. Landlord friendly, right?
Landlord friendly, yes.
Yeah, landlord friendly.
Or pro landlord.
Yes, yes. Okay, got you. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know the mapping politically there, blue and red, but landlord friendly, just to keep the terminology simple. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So mostly Sunshine Belt states, right?
Yep. Correct.
Arizona, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, those types of ones. Awesome.
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense. Um, so it's a pretty classic B and C value add. We were talking about value add a bunch. Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
lots of value add, because I feel like that's the easiest way to really force the appreciation and give our investors more money, especially on the returns.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to just buy something just to buy it, especially if there's nothing we can do to it to force that appreciation, because God forbid the market goes down and then everything goes down,
Yeah.
and then you have to think about that too. So I think when I look at a property, that's one of the main things I'm looking at is, okay, what do they not have? What's going wrong? Let me see what the comments are, if there are any that talk bad about the property, because maybe it could be a property management issue. Maybe the property could just be managed very poorly. They don't care about their tenants. Like, I want to come in with a focus of, we care about the tenants and we can actually make a difference when it comes to what they're complaining about.
Yeah, absolutely. All those 1, 2, 3 star reviews, like you might
Yeah,
see wherever it is, these are the opportunities to improve the product, right?
exactly.
Um, yeah, outstanding. So just kind of rewinding to earlier where we were talking about you talked about being an open book here, getting the aha moment of being able to do syndication, going through talking to your aunt who's super supportive, the uncle, and anyone else there. I've gone through a lot of resources, lots of books, lots of conferences, and I have found over time really having to get over my own number of financial limiting beliefs. And so I'm sort of curious, has there ever, or what financial beliefs, have you had to get over as well? And I'm teeing up the question this way because, again, there's, you know, something as simple for some people of, well, debt is bad, right? A
Yep.
very common one that might not be out there. Debt is bad, or does this really, Merrick, this thing sounds good. This is a real estate podcast and whatever, but you got this ad and it was like, how did you go from does this really work to, oh, this works, or
Yeah.
thing like that? Were there any ideas that you had to look at and give you pause to see that you had to get over uh, financially? Does that make sense? Limiting belief
It, it,
wise?
it does, because, and I think, like, when I first started thinking about it years ago, before I learned anything, it kind of goes back to thinking that these buildings behind me were owned by just one person,
Mm,
right? And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, all these buildings are worth over $10 million. I don't have $10 million in the bank to just, pull
yeah,
out and actually buy one of these, pull out to even build one of these,
yeah.
right? And so my limiting beliefs was just kind of focused on like stuff like that. And then not even realizing that, especially in the real estate space or the syndication space, excuse me, that even the investors that you get aren't going to buy the whole building at the purchase price,
Hmm.
that you're actually going to be using the bank to help you in most of these deals, if not all of them.
Right.
And so again, the more you learn, the more it uncovers, your mind, and you're like, okay, this is more possible than I realized.
Hmm.
And it's really up to you to kind of get out of your own head, to just learn and then move forward, like learn the truth, because sometimes we think we know what it is, we think we know everything, and that's just how we are. That's kind of how we've been made in a way.
Sure.
But once you get out of that and you say, okay, let me at least learn, let me understand exactly how this works, and not just do your own research reading books, go talk to a person that actually did it,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I've been doing, like, and that's what gave me more confidence, is talking to people that are doing this every single day and seeing and understanding, is that person really that much better than me?
Yeah.
And once you figure that out, like once you hit once that connects, that's where everything opens up for almost everything.
Yeah. 100%. That's smiling ear to ear on that one because you gave another also Ziegler quote about the what you make up in skills or talent you make up with numbers.
Yep.
Unlimited leads, right? Unlimited opportunities go at bat, and
Yep.
I love that. Um, but the point, the idea that there are people who are less talented and than you and work less that are out there doing what you want to do,
Yep.
right? And that one is always one when I'm like, God damn, like where am I with this? It's like the imposter syndrome or whatever, or wherever you're at. You just it's like there's someone out there that you just have to keep going. Excuse
Yeah.
me for the additional coughing here. I'm getting over
100%. Like
something, but
you have to. Like you can't, I don't know, like especially not just in our industry, but even before this. When I got into digital marketing, I was just looking around just like I could do that. Like I'm sitting there like I could update meta tags, I could do
uh-huh.
website building. I mean, website was a little hard, app was harder. But once you got to a flow of like, okay, this is how this works together, you start realizing that you're just as good as everyone else. That the only thing that separates you, honestly, is the knowledge that you have
Hmm.
and basically the drive is, are you willing to put the work in? And I think for me personally, I'm very willing to, learn to talk to whoever. Zig Ziglar quote, make up in numbers what I lack in skill. I will put in all the numbers possible
Yeah.
to get the skills needed to do the job. I will do whatever it takes. And so
Yeah.
I feel like that's helped me get to where I'm at today.
100%. Now, when you think back, do you to when you were learning digital marketing, tags and whatever it was, right? Do you did you find that you followed the same process going into education and also going to talk to someone else, just
Yes.
like you just explained with real estate and
100%.
investing
Oh,
here to break your
that's
beliefs?
my favorite question. Absolutely my favorite question because I have my friend's book over here. So when I first got into digital marketing, and I tell the story to everyone, when I first got into digital marketing, it was because I couldn't find a job anywhere. Right?
Nice.
I had a marketing degree. I went to school for marketing and aviation, so I flew planes. I was like, okay, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. Went into business, got my marketing degree, and I thought that I was going to be the CEO of Walmart. Like, I actually applied to be the CEO of Walmart. Of course, they didn't contact me because I was coming out of college. They're probably like, "Who is this random kid applying for this big job?"
Sure.
And it didn't work out. But Brian, who was my first roommate in college, he actually got into digital marketing, started his agency, and I saw what he was doing on Facebook, and I was just like, "Hey, Brian, like, is there any way I can help you out? Like, I'll work for free. Just teach me what you're doing. It looks like you know what you're doing."
Hmm.
So basically, he mentored me into digital marketing, showing me exactly how things work, how affiliate marketing worked, how SEO worked, like the whole shebang. And so I took that after like working for him for free for like, a couple months. And then I expanded upon it. I just got more curious. And then while I was doing that, I was also learning how to build websites.
Hmm.
And so him mentoring me was the same process that now I look at for everything. So for everyone that was listening, notice that when I came into real estate, which is a space I've never been in, the first thing I sought after were mentors, right?
Hmm.
Because I want to find the people that are doing what I want to be able to do because they're going to go ahead and increase my growth exponentially because they're going to be able to answer the questions that I don't know, even if I think I know. They're going to
Hmm.
be able to correct me and say, they're going to look at me how they looked at themselves when they first started and correct all the issues that they had so I don't have to make them.
Right.
And so that's what I've learned. And now I've done it like I would say 10, 20 times over, where instead of just having one Brian, I have like 20 or 30 of them that are I'm talking to week after week that are helping me and build my confidence, my knowledge base. So now I can take down these deals.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. You think sometimes you go and talk to people for what they strategies and tactics that they can tell you, but what you end up finding is what you were talking about too, is that you actually get your own beliefs broken and you borrow and adopt theirs, and that just opens up a whole new perspective and a whole new world. And strategies and tactics can be a dime a dozen. Technology will always change, and so sure, frameworks will stay similar, but just the new beliefs are what really matters. Those epiphanies. So, um,
Yeah.
love that. And it's so imperative, so important to have those 10, 20 different coaches, mentors in all areas, right? Whether it's, what was your previous thought process, or what did you think was good with health, or what did you think was good with whatever, and getting to that next level. So,
Yep.
while we're on this topic, you mentioned that you're really big on education, and there have been some people that have mentioned, well, I want to know some, but, uh, but I'd rather invest and you just make me money, right?
Yep.
We've all come across them. What, being blunt about it, I'll go first on this. I I have a hard time having them invest with me because I want them to be educated to really understand a bit more. Otherwise, it's kind of like it's the same principle in my opinion about, you know, not to talk too much about things like SEC, but the intent was there importantly, which is they want to protect the investor,
Yep.
retail investor. And so if you have someone who doesn't really understand what's going on, it might cause you more trouble than one you need. And if they don't understand, like, these aren't exactly super small checks for most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, talk to me more from an ideal perspective, as we look at this forward looking, not just opinion, but in an almost idealistic. Who is the type of investor that you really want to work with?
Sure. It's of course someone that has disposable income. Like, at the end of the day, I want it to be someone that isn't going to necessarily think about, what they're invested in. So for example, like if they have a certain dollar amount, that's not going to make or break them,
Mhm.
right? I would want someone that is very comfortable. That's just like, okay, I'm going to put that kind of like in many cases how people look at crypto, where it's like, okay, I don't think this is going to really change my life, but I want to just put it here because who knows, in 10 years this might blow into something else. And so I would say my ideal investor is someone that has, of course, the disposable income. I would love for them to be, Northeast based because I would want to meet them and talk to them. Like I
Mhm.
want to be able to be in a position where we can actually meet face to face. Like I don't want to just have any investor like that's from, let's say, a different country invest with me. That's okay. Like, we could talk about that and have FaceTime calls,
Mhm.
but I'd rather be able to be in a position where you can touch and feel me,
Yeah.
right? Because I want you to be comfortable and I want you to understand that, there might be hard times that come, not saying that they are, but even if there are hard times, that I'm a real person, that you can always be in contact with me, that you can get in contact with me fairly easily. Because there's nothing that's going to feel good about investing with someone that's in, a bunch of states away and things are going wrong and you can't contact them and you can't even get to them,
Yep.
right? I want to be able to put all of my investors in a peace of mind state where it's like we're all in the same state, right? We're all in, around the same tri-state. If something goes wrong, hey, Merrick, do you mind if we grab dinner? Do you mind if we grab a drink? Like that's kind of like my ideal investor. I'm not necessarily, worried about which industry they work for or,
Mhm.
I know we could talk about like tech professionals, we could
Sure.
talk about medical professionals.
Yep.
That to me doesn't, I don't really mind it just as long as you're here and you actually have a heart. Because I also have like, I want to give back to the community through my syndication as well, not with investor money, but with my own, whatever we make. I want to give a percentage out to different sports programs for our youth. And then I also want to help out those that are running like human trafficking projects. And so I want to make sure that we can kind of end that, worldwide. And so that's just my initiatives. And that's what I invest in when it comes to the returns we get back. But to answer your question, it's really someone that has disposable income that's close to me here,
Yeah.
proximity.
Yeah. It's so important, right? It makes me, again, just talking about uh, the factors of the know, like, trust, but even a little bit more human aspect of knowing that you're a real human. You can pick up the phone, have a conversation, and like you said, has the heart as well. So awesome. Well, Merrick, thanks so much for being here, man. I love how you shared not only your heart, but a bit of how you got here. And appreciate the openness on those questions. It's always fun to dive in that versus just, the nuts and bolts strategies of one more time about multifamily. So appreciate getting to know you, man. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Path to Passive. We love connecting with our listeners and those on the path to architecting their wealth and improving their lives. Feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see in future episodes. Get in touch with us through email or Instagram. See you next week for a new episode.